right. We should be live in five, four, three, two, one. All right, here we go. There we go. All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Junior Golf Podcast. I'm your host, Ro Thompson. And as always, we've got a special guest in the building. We've got none other than Jeff Bullock, founder of the Universal Golf Rankings. How's it going, Jeff?
Going great, Ro. Thanks for having me on.
Good, good. Thanks for being on, man. I've been following your Instagram posts for a couple of months, and real excited about the opportunity to get to know you and ask you a couple questions about the Universal Golf Rankings. But before we get into all the fun stuff, Jeff, give us a little background about yourself.
Background. So born and raised in Colorado, still in Colorado. Grew up going to the International, if you know that PGA Tour event that ran for about 20 years. So that was a lot of fun. Castle Pines is actually getting the BMW back this year, so it'll be fun to go back and kind of run around there. So I'm going to be going to that. Lifelong golfer, played through high school. I'd say my claim to fame was I won the Colorado State Junior stroke play when I was a senior in high school, but didn't do much beyond that. But still like to play, and now I'm trying to get my kids into the game.
That is awesome. And how old are your kids, Jeff?
I got a 7, 5, and 2 year old.
Oh yeah, perfect time. Perfect
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
Yes. That way you can just sit back and enjoy them, just mess up everything.
yeah.
You
They're a lot
know?
of fun.
Good, good, good. And Jeff, did you play in college?
Did not play in college. No, I
Okay.
had some opportunities, but kind of went a different route and ended up just kind of getting into the business world and now just play golf, when I can.
Well, good, good, good. And what's your handicap? What's your index?
I think I'm right at like a 3.9 these days. So, but
Okay.
it's trending up, not trending down, right? So
Right,
if
right.
I if I can get 10 rounds in a year, then it's a good year. So
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's like me. I'm the junior golf dad, and man, I probably play maybe once or twice a month, and I never thought I never thought I'd get to the point, Jeff, where I'm okay with just playing once or twice a month, you know?
right, right. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Still love going out, but it's small kid time of my life.
Right, right, right. Well, listen, so let's get into the Universal Golf Rankings. How did the idea come up to go into something like that?
Yeah, I mean, you were telling me beforehand you're from South Carolina. It actually
Right.
originated in South Carolina. We were on a golf trip, and kind of a boys' golf trip, and it was in November of 2022. And
Wow.
that's right when in the professional space, there was just a lot of news around OWGR, and they
Yes.
had just come out and said that they were going to not rank live events, and they had just changed their formula as well. And it was
Mhm.
right at the time, even stripping out the live issues, that Scotty Scheffler, John Rahm, and Tiger all came out and said that the OWGR is flawed and laughable. And
Right.
so we were just sitting around dinner one time talking about this. We were at Kiowa, and we said, well, what if we started publishing our own rankings and see if it went anywhere? Because there's obviously it's in the news right now, and
Right.
it's not just people, it's professionals saying that there's issues. So that's kind of how it was born, and I mean, there's a lot in between of how it actually came about. But we published our first pro rankings in February of 2023,
Okay.
and we just kind of went off. That's when it all started, and it all kind of snowballed really quickly. I guess I credit social media. That's kind of what was our main platform of just getting our word out. And by May, we had gotten on PGA Tour Radio with Colt Knost. We had gotten on a number of different podcasts. The Living It Up guys got us on. They were one of the first people to get us on. And then again, it just sort of snowballed. You get a few tweets that go viral. We started showing how accurate our rankings were. That's kind of something that we really anchor ourselves on, is that we're unbiased, we're all inclusive, There's
Yeah.
nothing that has any bias towards a tour or towards a player or anything. It's pure
Okay.
performance based. Um, and then it probably, at least last year, it kind of culminated in October. Live Golf reached out to us and asked us if they could use our rankings
Hmm.
for their promotions event. So they were looking for a ranking system to figure out who could qualify to their Q school.
Gotcha.
And so, of course, we said, yeah, and we felt like that was a real big stamp of validation because, there's other independent ranking systems out there that they could have chosen.
Right.
And we said they felt like ours was the best one for that event.
Good deal. Now, have you had much, I'm sure whenever you have an idea, you get it going. What's been probably your biggest challenge or biggest hurdle in developing this ranking system?
Probably the biggest challenge, honestly, is just continuing to get the word out and just
Okay.
continuing to show that hey, there's other ways of doing it. I mean, at the end of the day, in the professional space, OWGR is the ranking system, and the reason why they are important is because that's what qualifies you for majors, right?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
that is the claim to fame. And so, there's we get the whole spectrum on social media of people who just like hate what we're doing and people who really love what we're doing. And
Right.
so it's funny to see all those comments, but it's been a really fun ride, and we're continuing on. And to kind of pivot to the junior space, I went to the USAM was in Colorado this last year at Cherry
Mhm.
Hills. And so I went out there, was watching all the juniors, and I was having discussions with parents of junior golfers who had qualified. And just through those discussions of telling them what we were doing on the pro space, they almost asked and said, "Hey, like, there's a need in the junior space, or there's an opportunity to maybe, take your system that's proven to be a really good system and put it in the junior space." And that's where the idea came to not pivot, but say, "Hey, we should maybe look at junior golf."
And add to it. Right. Because you just went live in the on the junior rankings, what, about a week or two ago?
2 weeks ago, yeah, we've been working on
Right.
it since August. So I mean, you don't throw something like this together overnight. I mean, we decided in August we were going to do it, and it took, I mean, what is that? Almost 8 months to build out the database and to really build out the functionality. And yeah, we went live 2 weeks ago.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Now, in your opinion, because all of the parents, we know about JGS and we know about Rolex and we know about a lot of other different rankings. In your opinion, what what's how does you know your ranking system stand above the rest?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So when it comes to ranking golfers, it all comes down to methodology. So
Right,
what is the method by which you are ranking people?
right,
And it's kind of clear. So Rolex, AJGA, they are a points-based system, right? So similar to OWGR, they assign points. You earn points based on where you finish in AJGA tournaments, and they only do AJGA tournaments. So that's kind of, that only captures a certain segment of the population.
and
Uh,
very small too.
and small tours, right?
Yeah,
Junior
yeah.
Golf Scoreboard, they are what we would call a multi-factor ranking system. They've got three different factors that are weighted differently, that they decide the weightings and they decide what's more important and not. And then their output is whatever the ranking systems is, right?
Right. Hmm.
We are what's called a performance-based system. So it's strictly relative performance on a peer-to-peer basis. So what we do is we map in a huge cloud-based computer. I can't adequately describe the actual technology that's behind
Okay.
it because it's so big,
Okay.
but we map the thousands and thousands of junior golfers, their head-to-head matchups that they play
Okay.
against every opponent that they play in a huge matrix, and you get a relative ranking, a relative score
Okay.
to them. And we've shown, this is like the nerdy side of it, we've shown mathematically that performance-based systems are the most accurate way to rank golfers over
Okay.
points-based systems and over multi-factor systems. And one of the main reasons why is that we account for magnitude.
Okay.
And what do I mean by that? If Scotty Scheffler finishes first place, whether he wins by 1 or by 10, he gets the
Mhm.
same number of points.
Okay.
We believe that if you win by 10, you should be credited with a dominant win more than just the fact that you won, right?
Right.
And so
Right.
performance-based systems actually take into account magnitude of win.
That's good. Yeah, because I noticed my son, he's ranked like 3,300 on the JGS. And then when I put his name in the TUG GR, is he's like 2,600. So it was a little bit higher ranking.
So then, well, and it's all just based on matchups, right? So if you go,
Right.
you click into any player, and we actually show, we call it the scatter plot. We show a scatter plot of everyone's head-to-head matchups, and you can actually see, you know, why you are ranked a certain way, because we actually show you that you beat everyone who we rank worse than you, and you
Okay.
lose to everyone who we rank better than you, and so it's a perfect fit.
Okay. That's good. Good, good, good. And so when parents look at this ranking system, Jeff, parents and juniors, what should they be looking for when they look at these ranking systems?
Yep. So we say we answer three questions, three
Okay.
fundamental questions that I think everyone wants to know. First, where are you accurately ranked? And we rank people on six levels: the overall, country, state, county, city, and then your class.
Okay.
So you can actually go in and say, hey, like I might be the 10th best player in my city, and maybe I'm the 1000th best player in the country, but there's always something that we can improve on. And we feel like that gives a really good story for everyone trying to figure out how they can improve, even if it's on the city local level. The
Okay.
second question we answer is, how am I trending? So we have tons of trend charts that go back 12 to 18 months. So you can see how you are hopefully improving, and actually measure your progress, right? So now there's an actual place that you can measure your progress. And then third, we answer the question, how do you improve? And I'll take the step back. We are a rankings and analytics platform. And I think you can correct me, or anyone can correct me. I think we're the only ones to do both, because
Okay.
the rankings platforms that we've mentioned are just pure rankings. And
Right.
then there's analytics platforms that usually you have to wear a device or have a tracker or wear a watch or do something. They give you
Right.
analytics, but they don't do rankings. And we've created something where you get, it's a one-stop shop. You have both now. You have your rankings, which explain your analytics, and vice versa. And so on the analytics side, we truly break down your game on a hole by hole level, on a par three, par four, par five level, in
Mm.
weather, not in weather, your
Oh,
bounce back
wow.
rates, your give back rates,
Yeah.
your insights. One of the most popular charts we have is we break down your game on the first six, mid six, and last six holes. And
Okay.
you see these crazy trends of, like, some people are great starters, some people are great finishers, some people are not, and you can derive really good information from that. You can be like, oh, maybe if I'm not a good finisher, maybe I run out of steam, maybe I'm not in shape, right? Or and then we have a whole benchmarking, because we have all the data of 12,000 different juniors. You can pick a
Right.
benchmark and say, how do I compare against the best players? How do I compare against the worst players? And you can toggle it back and forth so you can see where you need to improve to move up to that next level.
Hey Jeff, you caught my attention when you talked about starting strong, finishing not so great, because some of the junior dads and we've had this conversation about push cart. And one of the things that we found, well, or the data says, if you use a push cart in your in your tournaments, you save yourself about 30 to 40% energy. So
Oh, I believe it.
when you get a chance, Jeff, I want you to look at that for me and see what you've noticed with like most of the juniors. And I know some of them are gonna, finish strong because they're like, I already had a bad start, so I need to figure out how to finish
Right.
strong. But I think what does happen in most rounds is you get off to a good start, and then you kind of end on a not so great note. You may go bogey bogey or bogey double and
Yeah.
not finish the round so great.
Well, and that's why the trends charts that we have are so important, because you can look back and see. So, you know, maybe obviously one of the more popular juniors in the ecosystem right now is Charlie Woods, right? Everyone
Correct.
wants to see how Charlie's doing. If you look at Charlie's trends charts, he doesn't lose any shots to the field on par fives, even when you compare himself to the best juniors in the country.
Mm-hmm.
He's a par five player. Where he loses shots to the field are on par fours and par threes, which are basically iron shots. Like you can basically derive that his iron play is below average and his long game is above average. And then you can see the trends that's actually changed over time. And so it's just interesting to see that if you're sitting there consulting with him or looking at him, you'd be like, hey, we know we need to look on to go to the next level.
Yeah. And you spend more time on that, right?
Yep, you do.
Yeah. That's really good. That's really good. So Jeff, so the talk to us about the cost of the membership and what do you have access to?
Yep. So again, dividing it between rankings and analytics. So rankings on the most basic level are free, right? You can go to
Okay. Yeah.
tugr.org, click on boys or girls rankings. You can even search in the search bar and
Mm-hmm. I
see
saw
where you
that.
are ranked.
Mm-hmm.
We have really just two levels of memberships, and honestly, like we have got a pretty big tech cost that we have to cover, and as we do it. But the first level really answers the question all about advanced ranking. So the
Okay.
first level, which we call the hero package, tells you all of your rankings in your in the six categories that we talked about. It gives
Okay.
you tons of trends charts, and then it shows all the tournaments that you've played in and that are in the database, right? So we have, I think, the biggest piece of feedback we've gotten in the first 2 weeks is, hey, you're missing tournaments, and we say thank you, like tell us, and we'll get them in the database, right? Um, the legend package, which is our highest package, that's the pure analytics package, right? So that is all the deep hole by hole analytics, bounce back rates, how do you do in different weather, and everything. And so first package is $12.99 per month, and the legend package is $24.99 a month.
Right. I saw that. And Jeff, do y'all rank just 2 days or 1 days and 2 days?
We will put in any bona fide junior tournament, whether so it's a
Wow.
1 day, it's a 2 day, it's a 4 day. So again,
So
it goes back to the methodology, right? The methodology is if you're playing against golfers, we want to see how you performed against them. So if it's a US Open qualifier, if it's a US Junior qualifier, so none of the, all the USGA qualifiers are 1 day qualifiers that some ranking
okay.
systems don't pull in, and you're getting great players in those, right?
Strong
Um,
field. Strong field.
really strong fields, and so all those
Mhm.
are getting captured. I mean, we will. I mean, again, we're kind of limited at this point just by how much we can do on a per week basis. But in
Right.
theory, if this goes how we hope it goes, like
Hmm.
we want to input every local tournament of every local tour that exists because we want to be the biggest database of junior golfers out there.
That's good, Jeff. You
I
got
mean,
you kind of capture my attention. So let me ask you this:
yep.
so like for right now, how do you all capture, let's say, the tournaments period? Do the tours have to send the data to you, or do you how does that how
Yeah,
does that
we want to definitely build relationships with tours
right?
to do that. I mean, that'll be the easiest way to do it, especially on the local level. Because
Mm-hmm.
again, the two places where we found we've had some gaps is at the local level, right?
Right. Right.
Where maybe like it just doesn't hit the map as much, but we should hit them. And then the 1 day invitationals, because you get a lot of 1 day invitationals that are not tied to tours, right?
Right.
Maybe it's just a 1 day invitational run by some independent entity, right?
Correct. Correct.
But it might be like a pseudo state championship, right? It might be something where you do get the best players in the state playing, but it just doesn't really hit the grid anywhere. And so that's where we need to continue to build the relationships. Right now, we've got a phenomenal kind of first adopters, I guess we would say, the first adopters of our system who are
Okay.
they're sending us
Okay.
the gaps that we're missing right now, which is great, and that's what we want. Like we want to be as transparent and as friendly and as everything as possible. And if you're missing a tournament, send it to us. We'll get it loaded.
Okay. Man, that's awesome. And and so Jeff, is there anything else you would like for the juniors and the parents to know about your ranking system?
I would say we have in the professional space, one of the sayings that we like to put out there is that we're the most unbiased, understandable, all-inclusive, and accurate rankings. And if you break those four down, we're unbiased because the formula is truly performance based. Like there is no, it's not a points based system. We're not a multi-factor system where we're saying this should be weighted more than that. It's truly, hey, like what you scored relative to your peers is what gets in. There's no bias involved. It's all inclusive. On the pro side, that means we're capturing all professional tournaments. On the junior side, that truly means we're trying to capture all junior tournaments that we can, right?
Right.
It's understandable, right? There's really you don't need it's not rocket science to figure out what we're doing now. I could say it's rocket science of how we actually compute it from a technological standpoint, but it's relative peer-to-peer scores is what it is. And then it's accurate, and it's proven to be the most performance-based systems have proven to be the most accurate way to rank golfers compared to points-based or multi-factor systems. Like we have the math to prove it, and like we can publish it. We've published it on the pro side all the time on our Twitter feed on the pro side. And the last thing I'd say is one of our mantras is we want junior golfers to play more golf. One of the biggest pieces of feedback we got from parents is that sometimes there are wrong incentives within ranking systems that make you want to withdraw or not play in a tournament because maybe it'll be bad weather, or maybe it's a winter tournament, and how is my score going to be affected in the winter? And that doesn't matter in our system because it's relative to the peers you're playing. So if you're playing in a really bad weather tournament and the winner shoots 80, well, the winner shot 80. If you shot 85, you were only 5 shots off the winner. You weren't 15 shots off par, right?
Off of the course rating, right?
Off of the course rating, because the conditions were such that the winner shot 80, and that's what should matter. And so all of that is factored in. And so you should be incentivized to play more golf, not less golf.
Yeah, because that's the biggest concern, Jeff, that most parents, some of the parents have, I'm not gonna say most, is that you want to stay away from winter golf, and you want to stay away from bad weather, and like I have some parents that'll say, between November and March, you want to stay away, you don't play. You want to just work on your game. And if you're a competitor, if you're a parent and you want your children to be competition ready, that's a tough pill to swallow, because you want them to stay ready. So when it's time, boom, they're already in competition mode, and they want to compete,
Well, and the way you're ranking, the more competitors you play against, the more different competitors you play against, the stronger your ranking is. So Miles Russell right now, if you go into our system, he's played against 600 different competitors over the last 18 months.
He's number one, right?
He's number one. He plays everywhere and all the time. Charlie Woods has played against 424 different competitors over the last 18 months. If you scroll down to someone who's maybe ranked like 5,000th in our rankings and you look, maybe they played against 60, maybe they played against 80 because they were only playing in a few local tournaments. Your ranking becomes stronger when you get more connections to the golf ecosystem.
Okay. Gotcha. That makes sense. That's good to know.
Yeah.
All right. So Jeff, I know this has probably been a collaborative effort with some people that's in your circle. Is anybody that you want to give a shout out to for helping you to kind of bring all this to the forefront?
There's 6 of us kind of that are running this right now, and we've been running it since November. And we all have what's great is our group. We all sort of specialize in different things, right?
That's beautiful.
We've got our data guy who I'll put our data guy against any data guy, right? And we got our website guy who makes all the magic happen on the user experience. And then we've got seasoned executives. We got seasoned business executives that have been in business for 40, 50 years that are kind of our guiding star and everything. So we've really assembled a great team. We're all golfers. We all love golf. And we kind of want to make a splash in the junior space. We think we can, and so
I think
so we're trying to see what's out there.
So far, so good. I like it. I had a chance to get on the site today, and I saw some things. Like I said, I saw where JT was ranked 3,300 on the JGS, and he's 2,600 on the
Yep.
TUGR. So that's a great. That's good. Good to see.
Well, and then what I would say is the top 10 ranked golfers for both boys and girls, their analytics are open to anyone. So
Okay. Okay.
if you want to see what your kid or what's available to anyone, those top that like that's quote unquote our free trial is the top 10 are always free to everyone. So click into Miles, click into
Okay.
Blades, click into anyone, and you can see everything that's provided for all of them and just mess around. And I invite everyone to go in and do that. And see if it's worth it, right?
Yeah.
We've been open for, or we've been live for 2 weeks. We've got a
Mhm.
number of people who've taken advantage of the upper package, and it's been really good because they're getting the personalized analytics for their kid, and it's turnkey, right? You don't have to wear a device. You don't have to go input stuff after the round. We're deriving it all from the data that we get from the tournaments.
Gotcha. So, Jeff, if somebody, if our child plays in a tournament, how do we send that to you? Do we just send you the link, or
Yeah,
how does that work?
links are great. Sending it to email is better than over like Twitter or Instagram. So,
Right.
our
Right.
email is it's team@tugr.org. So, it's our team. So team@tugr.org. And, we got multiple people watching that inbox every day.
Okay. That's
So,
beautiful. That's
yeah.
beautiful. So, Jeff, just as we bring this thing to a close, man, I wanted to ask you. I know you don't get a chance to play a lot of golf, but one of the questions that we always ask on on our podcast is, if you could have a dream foursome, who would your other three players be?
This is probably a cop-out answer, but I feel like I get my dream foursome. I go on a family boys golf trip every
Okay.
year with my dad, three brothers, and a brother-in-law. So there's six of us, right? Is that what it adds up to?
That's a sixum. That's a sixum then.
That's a sixsome, and we usually play two or three courses, and we rotate foursomes amongst all of that. So at my stage, not that I'm old, but at my stage of after living through competitive junior golf and this and that, the few
Yeah,
times I play, I enjoy going out and playing with them.
that's good. Now, have y'all did the Pinehurst trip yet?
We did
Okay.
Pinehurst, we did
Yeah.
Kiowa. This
Yeah.
year we're going up to Sand Valley in Wisconsin.
Okay, good. And don't forget to put Myrtle on there too now. Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get
Yeah.
it. We'll get it.
Good, good. So Jeff, how can our listeners follow you on social media?
Yeah, so for junior golf, our our Twitter handle is at TUGR Junior Golf. Our Instagram handle is at Tugger Golf. So our Instagram we're using, we don't have a separate one for junior. That's kind of the main one. We send out a newsletter right now every single week as we kind of update and we're getting going. So if you want to get on our weekly newsletter, just ping me a DM or shoot me an email. And we got a lot of really great stuff coming down the pipeline. We've got
Yes.
some partnerships that are on the 2 yard line, and
Okay.
once we get those across the 2 yard line, we'll announce them. And I'm hoping that some of them get announced in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
All right. And Jeff, before you go, is there anything you can share uh as far as the future of Tugger?
I mean, the future of Tugger, I'd say we're just getting started, at least with TUGR Junior, right? We've got stuff going on both in the pro space and
Yeah.
in the junior space. A lot of our focus right now is in the junior space. I'd say pro is sort of on autopilot, and that's just people know us there, and they know what's there, and we have some interesting opportunities going on there. The future, 2024, is all about juniors, right? And so the platform we have built is, I would say, just the beginning. Like the goal is to continue to enhance the analytics, continue
Mhm.
to enhance the offering, make it to where we want Tugger to be a household name in every junior's household. And it's a platform built for players, parents, and coaches, right? We think it's going to be a cornerstone for recruiting for college coaches in the future as they continue to see how accurate the rankings are and as they
Yeah.
can look at the tools. So
Right.
we're just starting and we're excited.
Well, good. But good. We're in that you mentioned college coaches. We're in the midst of that college recruiting phase. So
Yeah.
yeah, you might get a couple of emails from me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, listen, Jeff, thanks for, from the Junior Golf Podcast family. We want to thank you for being on tonight and blessing us. And we look forward to spending time on TUGR like we do the JGS and the Rolex rankings.
Excellent. Thank you for having me on. I know we've been back and forth for a few months, and I think this was good timing. So, best of luck to your son, and